It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes. Now don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend with Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. How is everybody doing today? Happy Thursday. Yep, Friday part one. We've got the minister coming on today, Minister of Education and Training, for a Ministry Matters segment. So excited to have the Honorable Ralston Anglin on the program. Get your questions ready. He's got a few key areas that he does want to touch upon. So we'll give him an opportunity to do that. In case you missed it, Ministry Matters is a chance for all of the government ministries to come on and highlight exactly what it is that they have been doing. And, we encourage them to come on monthly. I think that's at least a good opportunity for us to keep up the public with the happenings within each ministry. So some have signed up, some are still figuring it out, but I can tell you without fear of contradiction that Minister Anglin was the very first one to say, yes, this is a brilliant idea. Let's make sure that my ministries are involved. And so they have a lot of information to share. And smartly enough, coming on CMR to make sure that all of you get to hear the information. So we will have him on around 8 o'clock. Now, we have, yesterday was a big day. We went to Little Cayman with the government. I'm pleased to say that I was able to tag along with them for what was really quite a historic announcement. And they did a few things, including finally a government that was prepared to move the needle when it comes to single-use plastic and the environment, something that has needed to be done. So we're going to get some of the details. They're still working on the legislative drafting of exactly how that is going to work. And we'll bring you more details, obviously, once that is available. But I think it's a great initiative. So I have the recording of the entire, except the Q&A, because there was a Q&A segment. So it was like a town hall meeting for the residents of Little Cayman. So I thought what we could do today is play that before Minister Anglin comes on. And then when Minister Anglin comes on, we'll switch the conversation and have a discussion with him. So how does that sound? Everybody okay with that? And then tomorrow is Friday. So just a reminder that I'm going to be off now until the 7th of May. And tomorrow, in fact, I should just take that whole week off, but I don't want y'all to be too upset with me. So I'm going to come back like kind of Thursday. I arrived back at Island the day before. Sometimes when you come back, you need to rest from your vacation because, things be kind of rough when you're up and down all over the place. I expect to get lots and lots of steps in. But I appreciate that the fans here and the family is patiently or not so patiently waiting for me. So I don't want to torture you guys. So I will come back a little bit early, a few days earlier. And so what I was thinking is tomorrow we could do open mic. Oh gosh, Zeus is in the studio again today. Lord have mercy. Come on, Zeusy. Sit down there and behave yourself. Be a good boy. So we could do a segment tomorrow, more like open mic. And let me see here. Okay, so we can do an open mic segment. And then from there, I think we need to discuss this whole cartel situation, which seems to be getting a little bit out of hand. So does that sound like a good plan for mañana? So let's do that, shall we? Let me just get the links because yesterday somebody called me after the show and said, you forgot to send out the links for the show. But I know that most of you did not miss a beat because I could tell based on the numbers that you were all here for it, honey child. So all good in paradise. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right, so let's cue up this video. Again, some major announcements were made yesterday. Of course, our news team has already put those out in terms of the publication. But I know y'all love to sit down and watch something to get the good news. So you ready? 3, 2, 1, lift off.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Great to see each of you are here this afternoon with us for a Little Cayman community meeting. As I always like to say, it's just amazing.
Is it my imagination? Am I not hearing any audio?
And I think that's well understood here this afternoon as well. So actually give yourself...
Anybody else not hearing audio? I'm not at all. Okay, give me 1 second. I made an assumption and I did not even check it because I could see while it was recording that the audio was great. So hold on, honey child, because just now I'm like, what? I'm not hearing anything. Okay, give me 1 quick second here. Yep. Okay. All right, so that's weird. Give me a second. I'm going to just grab it from the source again. Bear with me, good folks. Bear with me while I get this all queued up. Okay, so we do seem to have a little bit of an issue in the studio playing content because I just played the source file and it's perfectly fine. So let me just, I think what I may have to do is I may have to restart. Let me start by just restarting my board and nothing else. And then we'll take it from there. Hopefully we don't have to do a whole computer restart. But radio folks, what that means is you'll be temporarily disconnected, but hopefully, we'll bring you back up here shortly. So let me just message the radio station and let them know. Disconnection. All right, so temp disconnection. Let me just restart the board because the board is not picking up on my audio at all, which is kind of weird. Okay, give me 1 second. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned. We're going to just restart the board because that could be a simpler solution. We'll see here. All right, good morning. I'm back. Let me just try this again, and then we'll see what it's doing.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
If not, we may have to. All right, I'm trying to do everything but restart the computer. So just give me 1 second. So it's playing fine on my computer, but maybe what I'll do is I'll just change the file type because it is an MOV file. So give me 1 second. Let me just change it to MP4. Be as simple as that. Okay, let's see if other things are playing well. Here's a message from the ESO office.
The Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 12. The survey.
Okay, so that's also equally coming in extremely low, which means that we probably have a bigger issue here than I am recognizing. So in that case, let me try. I was fiddling around with something last night. Oh, Lord. Don't tell me I made something worse. I'm doing my best to fix that other issue that we were having with WhatsApp calls, but I may have to just abandon that for now. But give me 1 second. I'll try one thing, and then if not, we're going to just restart everything. Sometimes you got to do that, honey child. So let me just go back to system audio and see what's going on. What did I change last night? I changed something in Chrome. Let me see. Yes. This could be it. Okay, let's change that back to that. Yeah, I was trying to look thing. Although I don't think that that's it. I think that Chrome, I think I had that right. Output device. I'm pretty sure that was on the right setting.
The economic.
Yeah, I think we have to do a restart. Sometimes when you fiddle with little things, you got to just restart,
The Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 12. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2025? In 2025, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
Okay, I could hear that loud and clear. And hopefully you guys could as well. So let's try this audio once more. There we go. All right, so now I'm able to hear it. For some reason, I couldn't hear this file at all. And even that commercial was extremely low. So I can hear it. Everybody else can hear it. Just give me a thumbs up. I think social media is good. Radio folks, hopefully you can now hear as well. So yeah, it was that setting that I kind of messed with last night. Shal, Irvelyn, I wish it was that easy. She said, just reset everything to default. I can't because there are very specific settings for like every little thing between the computer, the board, the system that I use in Chrome to stream. So if I reset everything to default, I have to redo everything. So that's not what works in this situation. So that's why I was kind of like, oh no. But did you guys just hear that little clip? Let me play it again, make sure everybody can hear this, and then we'll play the meeting from Little Cayman.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Everybody can hear that?
If you are here this afternoon with us for the Cayman community meeting. As I always like to say, it's just amazing the community spirit that exists within Little Cayman, and I think that's well on display here this afternoon as well. So actually give yourselves a big hand of applause for coming out with this afternoon. I want to take the opportunity as well just to welcome our special guests that are here this afternoon with us. First of all, we have Her Excellency the Governor, Ms. Jean Wynne. We also have the Mayor of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Andre Eubanks. We have our Minister for Health, Environment and Sustainability, the Honorable Catherine. We also have our Minister for District Administration and Home Affairs, the Honorable Nicholas Acosta. MP for Newlands, the Honorable Wayne Panton. And to the far end there, we have the chairperson for the Little Cayman Airport Committee, Mr. Chris Bergstrom. In the rear of the building this afternoon, the gentleman in the blue shirt, if he raise his hand, we have the Deputy Chief Officer from the Ministry of District Administration and Home Affairs, We have members of the press. We want to also welcome you all. Thank you all so much for coming here and being here this evening with us to cover this very important Little Cayman community meeting. And to you, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I say welcome, and it's definitely a pleasure to have you all here with us. Time is against us, so we're time sensitive this afternoon, as we have a number of our dignitaries that have to leave before too long. But before we get moving with our remarks this afternoon, I'm going to ask Brother Fernando, who's in the rear, if he could make his way forward. I'll ask everyone else, if you can please do stand as Brother Fernando leads us in prayer. Let's ask God's blessings and guidance this afternoon in this meeting. Brother Fernando.
Let us pray. Eternal God and our Father, this evening, Lord, we as a people acknowledge you as the Lord of our lives. Thank you for life. Thank you for health and strength. Thank you for your creation. Thank you for your mercy towards us. This evening, Lord, we gather ourselves in this room where we will discuss matters as we appreciate you for your creation. Would you be with us in a very special way? May everything that will be said and done here this evening be to your honor and to your divine glory. May everyone be edified. As we leave here this evening, we'll be saying that it was good that we have made it And of course, we learn more from this meeting. So into thy hands we commit each and every one. Thank you for hearing us, and thank you for that which you shall be doing for us as we commit this session into your divine care now. Crave your blessings in our individual lives. We ask for these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, sir. Seated, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, again, we're going to move straight in to remarks here this afternoon. First up, I'm going to ask you if you could make welcome now to the podium the Honorable Catherine Eubanks-Wilt, who is the Minister for Health, Sustainability, Environment and Sustainability, and she's going to come this evening and get us kicked off with her remarks. Please do make her welcome at this time, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner. And good afternoon to each of you. It is so nice to be here in Little Cayman on Earth Day. There's no better place to mark this occasion than right here. As we arrived in Little Cayman and visited Tarpon Lake just a short while ago, I thought to myself that I wish I could spend more time here. We are truly blessed with abundant natural beauty and landscapes right here in the Cayman Islands. Here in Little Cayman, the connection between community and environment is lived every day. The landscapes, the wetlands, the surrounding waters, these are part of the identity and way of life of this island. This year's Earth Day theme, Our Power, Our Planet, reminds us that the future of the environment is shaped by the choices we make, both as individuals and as a country. And this year, that message carries added weight. The recent fire at the Georgetown landfill brought long-standing challenges in waste management into sharp focus. People are right to expect progress and to expect it to move faster. As a government, we hear that clearly. We've taken immediate steps to stabilize the landfill, reduce risk, and improve conditions. At the same time, we are advancing a broader plan, expanding recycling, creating additional capacity, and moving towards a modern, long-term waste management system. Managing waste sits at the center of environmental protection and public health. Earth Day is a moment to reflect, but it is also a moment to demonstrate action. And today, we're doing exactly that. Today, I'm pleased to confirm the designation of 6 new protected areas across our islands, including 2 right here in Little Cayman, Tarpon Lake National Park and the East Interior Nature Reserve. Very exciting. Very, very happy day. These are places of extraordinary ecological value. They support native and migratory species, protect vital habitats, and hold meaning for this community. Many people assumed that these areas were already protected, but now that protection is formal, legal, and lasting. We are securing these spaces so that they can be properly managed, restored where needed, and safeguarded over the long term. These areas will also remain accessible where appropriate so people can continue to connect with and enjoy the natural environment that defines our islands. And there is also another important milestone for Little Cayman that deserves recognition on Earth Day. In 2023, the United Kingdom formally included Little Cayman on its UNESCO tentative list, identifying this island as one of the most outstanding natural heritage candidates across all UK overseas territories. That is a significant achievement. It reflects the exceptional quality of what exists here, from the world-class coral reefs of Bloody Bay to globally important seabird colonies at Booby Pond, to one of the last remaining NASA grouper spawning aggregations in the Atlantic. Because of these extraordinary natural assets, Little Cayman is now on a clear path towards becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Achieving World Heritage status is a multi-year process. It requires rigorous scientific documentation, international evaluation, and clear evidence that these environments are being effectively protected and managed over time. But reaching that stage matters. This signals that Little Cayman's ecosystems are not only nationally important, they are recognized as among the most exceptional in the world. This work is being led by the Department of Environment, and I want to recognize and thank them for the expertise, commitment, and persistence required to move this forward. It is no small task. Alongside protecting our natural spaces, we must also reduce pressures placed on them. That's why I am proud to have worked alongside my colleague, Minister DaCosta, to move forward with the drafting instructions for a ban on specific single-use plastics. This has been a long time coming, but today we are taking a clear step forward. The proposed ban will target items such as small plastic bags, plastic straws, stir sticks, certain food containers, and other single-use products that too often end up in our environment, particularly in our marine ecosystems. Many local businesses have already taken steps to reduce their reliance on single-use plastics and help the community to reuse and also reject certain plastic items. Across the region, other island nations have shown that this transition is achievable and effective. And I believe that we can also reap the same benefits. For us, this proposed ban forms part of a broader approach, alongside improved waste systems, expanding recycling, and stronger legislation, because protecting our environment requires coordinated action across government, business, and the wider community. So today, from here in Little Cayman, the message is clear. We are protecting what matters. We are confronting long-standing challenges, and we are taking practical steps towards a more sustainable future. Earth Day reminds us that while government has a responsibility to lead real change, it is also shared. Our power lies in the choices we make and in the actions we take together. Thank you, and happy Earth Day.
Thank you very much, Minister. You had some very key announcements in regards to the environment here within the beautiful island of Little Cayman. Let's get the Minister and the government as a whole. At this time, it is also my honor and privilege to call on the Minister for District Administration and Home Affairs. In fact, your very own Minister here for Little Cayman. Please do make him welcome.
Thank you, DC. Good afternoon, everybody. We just started the meeting, and haven't you had some good news already? And there was no other place that I would have wanted to spend Earth Day personally than right here in Little Cayman. And when I brought the idea to caucus and to Premier, my colleagues, and we were going through a plan of what we can do for Earth Day to show our commitment, not only to our country, but to our planet as well. The idea came up, let's go to Little Cayman. And so they all decided to hop on a plane with me all at once. And it was you have no idea the feat that it is to get members of government on a flight. Because there's strict protocols, who can travel when, how many people can go on the same flight and everything. And we're all here because we have some good news to share for Little Cayman and indeed the country as a whole. So I want to thank my colleague, Minister Ebanks-Wilkes, for the announcements that she made so far and all of the work that she's doing in her ministry. Through my ministry, and I joined her this morning for a school assembly at Cayman Prep Primary in Grand Cayman, where all of the students at that primary school signed a letter to government requesting and pleading to prohibit single-use plastics. Quite fitting, because today, also on our agenda for cabinet, and we didn't tell them this, so they're going to find out that we already had it planned, but they did push us over the edge. We had it on the agenda already to move forward with that prohibition on single-use plastics. And so my ministry put together the cabinet paper, the work, and through the Customs and Border Control Office, we are proceeding with drafting instructions, the legal framework, and how that's going to be accomplished. But what we want to do is reduce our waste, keep our shorelines clean, and also just be environmental stewards. So those are, thank you. What we're discussing today, and you can tell by the length of the table, there are several speakers, so you know you're going to get good news from each one of them. I wouldn't bring them to Little Cayman to bring bad news. But what we are discussing today reflects partnership across our government ministries, across ministries and within the community itself. They reflect what can be achieved when we work together with purpose in the national interest. And there could be no more fitting place than Little Cayman for Earth Day. This island stands as one of the great natural treasures of our country, admired for its beauty, its biodiversity, its tranquility, and its strong sense of community, as we can see here this evening. It reminds us that our environment is not separate from our lives. It is part of our identity, our well-being, and our future. And that is why Earth Day matters, and that is why today matters. We spoke about our natural heritage and being recognized and being on the short list for the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And the DOE is taking the lead, but one of our very own here in Little Cayman, I think within my first month of taking office, demanded to come and see me in my office, Mr. Pete. So I want to thank you, sir, because this has been on my agenda with Minister Catherine and her ministry since that very first meeting that you came into the office. And you all would have recently seen the post advertisement for the coordinator within the Department of Environment. And that position within the Department of Environment is going to take the lead in pushing this forward and continuing it to completion. So we will get there, we're going to get there, and Pete, thank you so much for starting it. So building on that momentum, I want to continue with 3 further actions, well, 2 more, because I already spoke on the single-use plastics. But it reflects our commitment to environmental stewardship, as I said, balanced progress in the future of the sister islands. So the first one, although we're in Little Cayman, Cayman Brac is not too far away, but Caucus has just supported the issuance of a protected area order for the 125 acres surrounding the Brac Lighthouse that we purchased in 2025. So again, we are not in the behavior of just buying land. We're buying it to protect it. And that is the modus operandi of this government. The lighthouse area in Cayman Brac is indeed the most distinctive and cherished natural places on that island. Its landscape, ecological value, and cultural significance make it worthy of careful stewardship. The third one that I want to speak about is something that I've been quietly working on, and each time I come to Little Cayman for a community meeting, I always hear about, and it is the Dark Sky Initiative. And today I'm proud to announce that my constituency office, as well as the Ministry of District Administration and Home Affairs, has and will continue the exploratory work toward establishing a dark sky community here in Little Cayman. As I said very quietly, my constituency office has been doing the groundwork, been in communication with an associate at the international body, and we are beginning to see what needs to happen, what needs to take place to make that possible. But, you know, few places in the world are blessed with what we have here in Little Cayman, with skies as clear, unspoilt, and awe-inspiring as those that we have around us. In many parts of the world, it's natural that natural wonder has been lost. Even 5 miles across the bogue, even in Grand Cayman, you don't need to look far, but it has been lost, and it's something worth protecting. And this initiative will involve engaging with you in the community, assessing international standards, and exploring how we preserve the natural advantage while unlocking new opportunities in ecotourism, education, and community pride. It is forward-looking, it is aligned with the identity of Little Cayman, and it reflects exactly why we are here today, protecting what is special while creating opportunity for the future. More broadly, the lesson before us is clear. We do not have to choose between development and environment. We do not have to choose between economic opportunity and environmental responsibility. And we do not have to choose between meeting today's needs and protecting tomorrow's future. The path forward is balanced progress, progress that is thoughtful, sustainable, and rooted in the values of our people. Progress that listens, progress that plans, progress that endures. And as Minister for District Administration and Home Affairs, as well as your representative in Parliament, I want to assure you all, the people of Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, that the Sister Islands matter deeply to this government. Your future matters, your quality of life matters, and your voice matters. We remain committed to strengthening services, improving infrastructure, building resilience, supporting communities, and preserving what makes these islands so special. So today, let's celebrate Earth Day in true Little Cayman fashion, not simply as a date on a calendar, but as a call to action. Let's celebrate what we cherish, let's protect what we love, and let's embrace what's possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Acosta, for those inspiring remarks here this afternoon, and no doubt here on Earth Day, some key announcements in regards to both, not only just the Sister Island, Little Cayman, but entire Cayman Islands, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman here this afternoon. So thank you again, sir. At this time, we want to welcome our next speaker, the Premier of the Cayman Islands. We just want to honor him this afternoon, the Honorable Andre Ebines. I ask you, please do give him that real special
Happy Earth Day 2026, Little Cayman and the wider Cayman Islands. Happy Earth Day! I don't think I have been to Little Cayman since former Premier, the Honorable G. Wayne Panton, member for Newlands, half member for Little Cayman, organized the first ever cabinet meeting in Little Cayman. And in that fashion, thank you, because often you're forgotten about, and we shouldn't do that. And we shouldn't do that. So in that vein, there will be another cabinet meeting in Little Cayman. And although the DC Mark introduced us as the special guest, you all are the special guest. Special because you live in such a unique, special place of Little Cayman. I mean, I said to Captain Chris when we were coming in, we were seatmates on the flight in. And just coming to Little Cayman, I'm pretty sure I've only maybe made the journey 6 or 7 times in my entire life. And just coming in, it's just like, this is so cool. It is such a cool way to land in and have such a treasure. And it ratified the thinking that we, as the NCFC government, had and have, that the airfield should stay exactly where it is. Be in no doubt, you are being served by a unified group in the NCFC who are unpacking long-standing problems. Take your pick. Immigration reform, legal practitioners, 30 years in the making, banning single-use plastics. It is time in this term for it to be a transformation of Cayman. Not kick the cans down the road. Will there be struggles? Will there be setbacks? Will there be things that we'll have to think and consider about how we're going to do it? Yes. But we have to get moving as a country and put some of these things behind us because they simply just make good sense. And we don't do it alone. So, December, the final meeting of cabinet for the year is typically at the governor's house, 2025. One of the decisions at that cabinet meeting was to establish a working group. Is our NCFC caucus talking nonsense? Is this pie in the sky that the airfield should remain where it is? Okay, let's get some smart people together. Captain Chris was the chair of the working group. Mr. Robert Hurlston, Mr. Mark Partier. I think they're smart folks. Tell us if we got it wrong, if this is all pie in the sky. We even had the local aviation regulator, CA, their deputy chair, Ms. Sharice Armand, be an observer. Make sure the three of them were working. Make sure they deliver the goods. And they did. They supplied this caucus with a credible plan, with achievable milestones, to be able to have a certified airfield right where it is. Thank you, Captain Chris. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mark. And thank you for this program. We are where we are, folks, in 2026. Grand Cayman, largely in Cayman style and urban center, largely. The BRAC is going to be our suburbs. You all in Little Cayman are our pristine rural area where you just go to switch off. That's the vision. So you don't need something tearing down the middle of the island that's going to open things up, and then all three islands look identical. Makes no sense. So, work with us. There's going to be ongoing consultation. It has to be more than just this headline. There's going to be work to do. There's going to be additional task force to get all the task force, because there's all sorts of stuff to do. Land, engineering. Work with us. There's also going to have to be continuing the milestones, working with the regulator. But if we all agree on the end goal, then there's nothing we can't accomplish with creativity, energy, and innovation. So thank you. It is also interesting that Minister Nick, in his remarks, used the word forward, because this is about taking Cayman forward. There was far too much contention, to the minister's point, between pro-environment and pro-development. The two need each other. The two go hand in hand. So yes, there are court cases, there are bills, there are motions. Let's take a step back. Do this comprehensively, with stakeholder input, with facts and data. And this government is arranging the first week of June a forum. It's going to be called Cayman Forward, to get those stakeholders in a room from the development, those stakeholders in the room from the environment, have a objective, neutral, third party with local community experts to find out what's not quite working well, what's working right, what modest modifications can be made so that the two fit like hand and glove, because we don't need any more tension. We don't need any money more wasted on court cases. We don't need acrimony in Parliament. We need to get it done to take this country from strength to strength and leave it in a better position for our children than we found it. Now, we're not running from you, those of us who have to leave, because I think the flight leaves at 5:20. I was so tempted to keep the bracelet on for the room 107. But I had to take it off, ma'am, because I would have slept here. And the governor and I have two dinners tonight. I have one with you, and then I have another one with reinsurance, so we can't stay. But you're in good hands with those of us who are going to be with you all to take questions, socialize, enjoy the announcements, enjoy the fact that we're behind you. You're not 90 miles from nowhere. We are not the Cayman Islands without the sister islands. So thank you all. God bless you. And happy Earth Day 2026.
Thank you very much, Premier. If I was thinking I was going to have to say thank you on behalf of the people of Little Cayman, but I think the applause and the yells in the room said it all. Let him hear it again, once again, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I also have the honor and privilege now of inviting Her Excellency, the Governor of the Cayman Islands, Ms. Jean Owen. We are honored that we can welcome the President to speak some brief remarks before they have to leave the airport.
Thank you very much, DC. Happy Earth Day, everyone. It's great to be here. It's a good job we've got a lovely airport, because I think they're going to be having to hold the plane for us, so sorry about that. But I just wanted to spend a little bit of time just saying how lovely it is to be here. I just was here this weekend, actually, enjoying the wonderful dive waters of Bloody Bay, and indeed looking at the stars, Minister. So I love your idea of having a dark sky initiative as well. And I just really wanted to say, Honourable Premier and Ministers, congratulations specifically on the decision regarding the airport. It's obviously a decision that's very close to me as governor, because it is me as governor that delegates the authority to the Civil Aviation Authority to make sure that our airports are safe and certified. And as you know, we have been, as Premier was alluding to, sort of kicking the can down the road for years and years with an airport that is not certified. And so we are really grateful, Chris, to you and Paul, and who is the other person on this committee? Robert, yeah. Robert and Mark. We're really, really grateful to you for the work you have done, because this is a really big decision. It's a decision that we leave the airport, we keep the airport where it is, we keep it small. I mean, we can keep it small wherever we put it, but obviously we will keep it small where it is. And we will now go into some very clear milestones and plans over the next 18 months that aim for us to get to a position of having it safely certified in early 2028. So, as Chris knows, that will require a lot of work from anyone in this room who owns land. We are going to need to get the land, and we are going to need to have all of it. You know, we cannot have one landowner who is not going along with this, because it won't work, okay? And we are also going to need some really detailed, complex engineering works, because for the runway, I just want to be clear, we need to make it wider. We need to put a pavement on it. We need to make it longer. Because we need a pavement, we're probably going to need to move it a bit, because we've got the road there in the way. We're all nodding, you all know about this. And we're also going to have to make sure it's flat. It would be a good idea if it was pretty flat, wouldn't it? So quite a lot of work to be done. But this government is demonstrating that they are finding the resources, the financing, the resources within the civil service, bringing in experts from outside to make sure that we can do this successfully. So I have great confidence in how we are going to do this going forward, and it's wonderful to feel the support in the room and on this island for what we are all going to do. And we're going to do it together, and we're going to do it working in partnership. So tonight, Premier and I are actually having dinner with the CAA, as one of Premier's many dinners tonight. So we will be able to take this forward in partnership, and I'm very proud of that. And thank you all for all of your input to this, and hopefully we don't miss the flight now. Thank you very much. Great to see you all.
Thank you very much, Governor. And as you heard there, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to take this opportunity to thank Her Excellency, the Governor, and also the Honourable Premier and Minister Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes as well, for coming and taking time out of their busy schedule to ensure they spend a few minutes here this afternoon with you and the airline for those key announcements. They're going to have to hop on over to the airport at this time. But once they're off, then we're going to continue our meeting. We have a Q&A period, so let's be with us just a few moments as we continue with that. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, folks. So that was yesterday afternoon. CMR was there live for this little Cayman meeting. We were able to jump on a flight, you know, the little plane, the little itsy bitsy plane. And we were in attendance, and I'm pleased that we were able to bring you the good news and these stories first and foremost. So this was the unedited version. We will put a little something together and put it back on social as a standalone piece. So those of you who wish to watch it again can do so. But yeah, some really big announcements yesterday then coming out of that little Cayman meeting. So ban on single-use plastic, some, and it's a start. I mean, I see some people, it's kind of a bit disheartening to see people already giving up, like, oh, this isn't going to work. You know, how are we going to know if we don't try? That's my first question. So I think we try. There is a place, I did see someone say about the manufacturers. Absolutely, manufacturers do make a difference. But if there's no demand for these products, the manufacturers are going to have to make adjustments, right? So this concept that all bans and related plastic banks or deposit schemes are impossible or make no sense is inaccurate. There are examples of where this works around the world. So what we know, for example, is that these systems routinely push collection rates about 80 to 90% and sharply cut litter. Germany's national deposit system helped drive plastic bottle return rates up after they fell in the 1990s. And South Australia reported nearly 80% of beverage containers returned, with containers only about 3% of overall litter. The EU now expects that member states are going to collect 77% of plastic bottles separately by 2025 and 90% by 2029. And they are explicitly encouraging deposit systems because they work at scale. So it can happen. Cayman is obviously a small island nation. And I think a lot of times we have this concept in our head that because we're small, what we do doesn't make a difference. But it makes a huge difference. It certainly makes a huge difference to the quality of our own lives. I mean, I hate going to our beaches and seeing on a consistent basis that there is just so much garbage. And just over the Easter weekend, we stayed at the cottages in East End just as a little staycation. And, you know, we were walking alongside that end of the island. Lots of sargassum, of course, which is a natural phenomenon. But I saw way too many plastic bottles and glass pieces and plastic bags. And what, you know, in the past, when I've done Earth Day cleanups, I'm shocked at what I find. Even the plastic flowers that y'all put at the grave sites, I guess that's where they're coming from. I don't even know. I'm like, what? You know, clothing, beer bottles. And some people say, well, that's coming from overseas, Sandy. Well, I know it's coming from Cayman because they're local brands. You know, it's the Stingray Brewery and the things that we sell right here on this island. So island-wide recycling depots at supermarkets, civic centers, for plastics 1 and 2s, cans, papers, cardboard, all of these things make a difference. And once we start to do it, it becomes a second nature and it becomes a matter of just habit. So government is moving ahead with a partial ban and importing a long list of common use plastic items. Listen, I saw Beto's comment about the checkout bags. He says they're not single use. We all reuse them for garbage. That is true, because I'm a fan of quote unquote recycling those bags, because I do use them then to line the canisters of my my garbage bins and stuff at home, like the small garbage bins. But I also understand that those bags don't deteriorate very well. And so unless we can find a brand that is, you know, going to deteriorate in a shorter period of time, they will stay in the landfills forever, basically, because of the materials that they're made out of. You know, straws and stirs. I, for one, have in my household moved away from using the single-use ones. We use recyclable straws. We use metal straws. We use hard plastic straws that will last for years and years and years. So there are things that we can do. You know, there are local NGOs like Plastic Free Cayman who report clearing out thousands of pounds of plastic from our beaches every single year. And it's not just around Earth Day, it's all year round. So I think that we need to do more. They have certainly lobbied for this ban and evidence that policy plus community action is already reducing visible pollution. Let's do better. Let's keep Cayman clean. We often talk about the unsightly cars and other things that are just littering our highways now and private residences. So it's not impossible and it's not realistic. There are things that we can do. The government has taken, I think, a very positive step forward in making this announcement on Earth Day. And we all have to play our part. No matter how small you think your part is, I think that it is nonetheless, if we collectively do it together, will be impactful. Okay, so yesterday was Earth Day, and I actually forgot about it, to be honest. And when I got the call to join the government for this little Cayman trip, the whole thing was embargoed, so I didn't exactly know what I was going for. They were just like, are you able to come? Are you free from this time to this time? Just show up. And I was like, okay, I'll be there. And then as I got closer to, when we landed in Little Cayman and I saw where they were going, it occurred to me, oh yeah, today's Earth Day. This might be a big announcement in relation to Earth Day. So they made a couple of big announcements in relation to the airport, which I think a lot of the residents of Cayman or Little Cayman were very, very pleased about. The fact that they're not going to move that. Also focusing on protecting certain areas of the sister islands. I love what the premier said, that Little Cayman and Cayman Brac have a completely distinct and different ecosystem. And we need to protect that. Not to say that we've given up on this island, on the big sister island, but they have pristine, very, very pristine areas. And we need to ensure that we protect those as much as we possibly can. So I congratulate the NCFC government on these initiatives. I can tell you that the residents who were there, they came out. You could hear them in the background clapping and stuff. They were very, very pleased with the initiatives that were being announced there yesterday. So I was glad that I could be in attendance. I was able to record the whole thing for you guys and share that with you this morning. And my apologies, Mr. Tibbetts was muffled, but I think it really was because everybody else sounded a lot clearer. So I think it might have been he was holding the mic a little bit too closely. And then some people just kind of, the way they speak anyway tends to be a little bit more where their words kind of run together. Tartarian says, yes, please leave Little Cayman alone. No resorts, hotels, and condos, and selling land to foreigners or selling land, period. Huh? You can't sell land. Well, I don't think anybody can do that, Tartarian. I mean, that's a bit draconian, but you need to tell that message to the landowners because they certainly don't have to sell their land. But I don't know that the government is going to interfere in what private citizens decide to do with their land, because then where do you stop once you start down that slippery slope? All right, let's do a quick commercial. We've got the Minister, the Honorable Ralston Anglin here with us today, and we'll be chatting with him right after these messages.
The Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 12. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2025? In 2025, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get into it. Welcome. Someone said that my camera was a little bit blurry. I was just going to check on Facebook. It actually looks pretty good, to be honest. So sometimes you have to refresh on your end. I was trying to get my back screen sorted out. So let me welcome the minister. And while he's speaking, I'm just going to make an adjustment so that you guys can see the appropriate image on the back screen there. Good morning to the Honorable Minister Ralston Anglin. How are you?
Very good morning, Sandra. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know that we have our Ministry Matters segment with you today, where we're trying to catch up on a few things that your ministry, education and training has been up to, including ECAP, local scholarships, school visits, and Passport to Success. So let's start off talking about ECAP, what ECAP is, and what funding, because I understand there's actually been an update that's favorable, obviously, for Caymanians. So let's talk about that first and foremost.
Well, thank you very much, Sandra. Well, before I start, I want to really just thank the team in education. Sandra, ministers can't get work done, quality work done, without great civil servants working with them. And so I have the most outstanding team in education. We're rebuilding parts of the team, but we have a a team that is dedicated to making sure the lives of our children are better. And certainly I want to thank those in the team who were involved with the revamp of the early childhood assistance program.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra, what this program is, this is a way that we assist Caymanian families for the year before they go enter reception. As you know, the early years are the most important years. And so very early on after the elections, when we were getting the updates, it was made very, very clear that this was a critically important area that need to be looked at. And so we went about looking at the budget and we increased the budget. We had $921,000 allocated to this program in 2024 and 2025.
Mm-hmm.
2026, we increased it to 2.1 million. And in 2027, it's the same amount, 2.1 million. So we've more than doubled the budget allocated to this most critically important program.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it is families are able to apply to receive this assistance so that they can get their children into early learning centers.
Mm-hmm.
That's critically important because we know and we see the clear evidence. There's a stark difference between the average child who has not been to a center and those that have been.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have a lot of work to do around how we lift the standards and assist centers. But that's a piece of work that we currently embarked upon to come up with a real strategic approach as it relates to centers. But effective April 1st, the Early Childhood Assistance Program is going to be one that the application process has been simplified to ensure better access to families, in particular vulnerable families. We've revised the policy provisions that would deliver a more equitable system that supports families across a wide range of circumstances. So, for example, right now, Sandra, there was a ceiling in terms of if you made a certain amount of income, then the family didn't get access. And so we saw circumstances where a family may have had, let's say, a mortgage, and whilst the income level precluded them from applying, when the team looked at their circumstances, it was seen that that would be a family that should get access. And so those are key parts of the revamp that are ongoing efforts for us to strengthen early childhood education and support Caymanian families. So this, Sandra, is a key part to how government is also assisting with cost of living. Because not only are we increasing the amount to get wider access and more families having access, but we're also increasing the amount that families get per month in terms of that support.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Minister. And also, I was sort of singularly focused, as you know, you have limited time this morning, but thank you for also acknowledging that there's so many people behind the scenes who make it possible for the ministry to accomplish what it does. And that really is the overarching, vision of Ministry Matters, is to highlight all of the hardworking team members that make ministries and our lives what they are, because I think that success definitely has the team element to it. Just a quick announcement, folks. We are getting some breaking messages this morning that there's a very serious accident at the Frank Sound Junction. That beautifully, someone said that the junction is poorly designed. I don't think that's the issue. I think, once again, our drivers are just poor. But here we go. Another junction in Cayman being blamed for, an accident. These junctions they don't move. So you guys need to slow down, pay attention, and use them as they are intended. But at any rate, there was a serious accident there this morning. As we can see, fire service is on location. Looks like the ambulance might also be there. So we're asking you, if you are traveling in the eastern districts and you're going to be in the area, to please be cautious and take your time and give the emergency services enough room to do what they need to do. All right, folks, another accident on our beautiful roadways. So that's a whole other situation. I don't know how many of you guys will. Tomorrow we'll be playing the video from the police conference, and I can tell you that poor Kurt Walton, the traffic situation and the number of accidents is like the bane of his existence. He's just like, come on, folks. We're doing as much as we can, but obviously the drivers play the most important role in that. All right, Minister, my apologies, but what
No
a mess.
problem. And so Sandra, what began on April 1st with the new ECAP program was that supplementary funding was increased from $812 a month to $937 a month, and basic funding increased from $541 a month to $625 a month. Again, in any economic times, it is good when we can support our most vulnerable families. But of course, as we have a number of global geopolitical issues that impact us, right? Look, the Ukraine war is still going on. We don't talk about it as much, but it's still ongoing.
Absolutely.
It still impacts markets. The Israeli war continues. The war in Iran is the new conflict. And so we know that that impacts us. And so we've already seen the first wave of impacts as it related to fuel at the pump. And so during those times, to be able to have families in the supplementary section alone, those who are qualified, have an increase of more than $100 and almost $100 in the basic. Doesn't sound like a lot, but every penny counts, especially for families that have to survive paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
So the applications for funding is from September 1st, 2026, and that runs then to the coverage to August the 31st, 2027. That increase that I spoke about in regards to capturing more families starts in September 2026, and it's for families that earn above $5,500 threshold and include 3-year-old children that will benefit from the new category that we are calling financial hardships. So those families must provide proof of expenses to income ratios of 90% or above on expenses listed and their maximum amounts, which are in line with the DFA guidelines. We tried not to have yet another government agency coming with a new set of criteria. So we take it back off the baseline numbers that they use. And so, Sandra, this program will improve accessibility, and parents and legal guardians that are able to complete or access the application form can now designate a third party to complete the form on their behalf. And so that revamp, we believe, is really going to increase access to the vast majority of our families. And so I just say to people out there, if you're in this category, just make sure you go ahead and apply.
All right, folks. You can find out more about the criteria and apply at MOE, that's Ministry of Education, applications.gov.ky. And there's some visuals on there, a really helpful checklist of the things that you'll need. My apologies. So the information is available on the website, folks. Please check it out. Ministry representatives are there to assist you. I did see that they actually had a session on April the 11th where you could go, I believe it was at the public library, and get them to help you with the actual form, the actual application. So it's initiatives like this, because, you know, sometimes people get a little bit confused with paperwork and how to do these things. And I was very, very pleased to see that the ministry actually thought about this and offered some assistance. So you think there might be another one of these sessions coming up?
So not only have we been on the road with these public sessions, we've been also training persons who work in constituency offices as well, because we know that those are persons that's often contacted to assist other persons or constituents to apply for this program. So I think that the team has just done a fantastic job at getting out on the road. I can double check if there's any. So I'll check that and I can report back before we get off the air.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. So again, just to reiterate, folks, this is the Early Childhood Assistance Program 2026 to 2027. Applications opened on April the 1st, and it's going to be for children who will be 3 years old prior to September the 1st, 2026. So you've got some listed information here. You can email ecap@gov.ky. And there's also the application checklist of the documents that you'll need. So have those ready. If you're going to get some help with the application, you need the child's birth certificate, the official letter from WORC acknowledging the child's right to be a Caymanian, and a government issued ID for the child's parent, legal guardian, which could include anything like a driver's license, voter's ID, or passport picture page. And then your income information as well. So just those few items. Doesn't sound complicated, but make sure you have the items that you need so that if you go in for assistance, even to, as the minister said, the constituency offices, don't go in missing paperwork, because then they can't fully assist you. So thank you so much again to the ministry team. Now, Minister, before we move any further, we should probably, because I know I'll forget this and you'll probably forget this as well. Just last week, a couple of days ago, the government honored Employee of the Year, the Deputy Governor's Employee of the Year program. And one of your own was the recipient. Is that right?
Absolutely. So Sandra, I was leaving that for the wrap up at the end.
I'm sorry.
No problem. But no, I want to, on behalf of myself and the ministry and the department, and indeed the entire education system and fraternity, congratulate Ms. Giovanna Wright Ebanks, principal at the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School, who was selected as the 2025 Deputy Governor Employee of the Year Award across the civil service. So
wow.
Not only do I want to congratulate her though, and for her outstanding leadership, and this is well earned, right? She has earned this 110%. But I also want to say how proud I was. And if you look at the picture you have up on the screen, you'll see four other outstanding civil servants who are all from the Ministry of Education who were finalists. So of the 12 finalists, the Ministry of Education and Training had 5 of them.
Oh,
and
wow.
So it just shows the breadth and depth and the hard work that is going out to the public. And some of it is obviously internal servicing to the ministry. For example, a Chief Human Resources Officer was one of the finalists. Our senior manager of what's her title? Anyway, she's senior manager of customer service. That's what I'm looking for. Over at the Department of Education Services was also one of our finalists. And in fact, the lady that's the engine behind the ECAP program, Ms. Barbara Bawden, who is on to my right in that picture. She was one of the finalists as well. So we just had an outstanding contributions made in the public service by persons across the entire ministry. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. It certainly is more than warranted for us to point out and highlight just these sort of outstanding achievements, these sort of outstanding public servants who, contribute in the back, as it were, day in and day out. I tell people all the time, and anytime I have an opportunity to meet with staff, I can't do this without their hard work, without their commitment to service and to public service.
Wow. And before we forget, there is an announcement that was posted from your team as well that is relevant to today. So let's go ahead and remind our listeners, I know quite a few people are obviously still tuned in, that there has been a cancellation of an event. Oops, let me just pull up the right one here. There we go. The Smart Start session, which was supposed to happen today in Bordentown and East End, has been canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. So I'm sure that we'll hear more information if that's going to be rescheduled. But the Ministry of Education and Training apologizes for any inconvenience that this may cause. That was supposed to happen today. So just in case you hadn't seen this notification, again, the Smart Start Early Stimulation Program, which I don't know what that's about, but it sounds very, very interesting. But it has been canceled. It was supposed to take place today in Bordentown and East End. So just keep an eye out for further updated details on when that will be rescheduled for. All right. So lots going on in your ministry. Let's go on and talk about local scholarships.
Yeah. So Sandra, we, as you know, one of the biggest investments that we make in our country is in the further education of our young people, and adult learners as well. We have adult learners who access the program, but the local scholarship programs is for all Caymanians who are eligible for the 2026-2027 academic year. The application period has been extended. We've extended it from April 30th to May 31st, just to allow greater participation. And I really want to encourage persons to go ahead and get your applications submitted. There is a decent amount of data that you need to provide, required data and required information. So go ahead, get those applications in. But the local scholarships, Sandra, are crucially important for our young people because it supports Caymanians pursuing their undergraduate and postgraduate degrees at registered local tertiary institutions. We also have, of course, our post-secondary qualifications that covers A-levels, CAPE, International Baccalaureate, and BTEC programs. These are crucially important gateways to higher learning, higher skills, because it's going to be very, very interesting. Some of the data that we're going to be releasing through the ESO office, which has looked very closely at the linkages between skills and the average earnings of Caymanians in the workforce. And I can tell you, Sandra, moving from from high school to a certificate, to an associate's, and to a bachelor's, the life chances and the life that you enjoy it's game changing.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't rocket science. That isn't some big new announcement. But when you actually see the data really bearing it out and you see the numbers and you see what the average hourly income is, I mean, most people are paid on a salary, but they still break it down because it's just impactful when you actually see on an hourly basis what that average looks like. It's easy to say somebody's making $10,000 a month, $5,000 a month. What does that mean per hour? Because that's the way a lot of people like to think. And so that really, that sort of data is crucially important. And so one of the things that we also do, Sandra, in terms of the local scholarship program that covers tuition, fees and books, and for Cayman BRAC students, a stipend per quarter that allows them to access accommodation. I think a lot of times we forget that Cayman BRAC students don't necessarily have someone to come and live with here in Grand Cayman. And even if they did, they're away from their home, right? They're moving out of mom and dad's home to come to Grand Cayman to attend UCCI. So whereas a child in East End, a child in Northside, Bordentown, you're living at home, you just drive to school. A lot of Cayman BRAC students, to access the full experience at UCCI, actually relocate over to Grand Cayman. And so we provide a stipend of $4,000 per quarter and an accommodation expenses of up to $12,000. So, and that's crucially important to support our Cayman BRAC students. All Caymanians must have equal access. All Caymanians must be treated equally.
Fantastic. And the scholarship secretariat, that falls under your ministry. And do we have any details on how they can be reached?
So they can be reached at scholarships@gov.ky. So scholarships plural @gov.ky. is the easiest way to reach out for
Mm-hmm.
any questions, any information. But all that is obviously on the website and a part and accessible as you're accessing the application and going through the application process.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another hardworking team in the
Mm-hmm.
ministry that has to carry out a lot of work. I can say, Sandra, we've had the initial conversation about moving that application process to a homemade product where we develop our own application process and bolt on a database so that we can get relevant and timely information. But
Mm-hmm.
more important than getting it, having it available also to other agencies such as work and the wider community. People have heard me talk about this 12 years ago. I want to ensure, Sandra, that if you own a small engineering firm
Mm-hmm.
and you have 5 employees, that you can be able to log on, have access to, and log on to a portal where you can do a search and access young people, right? We need to connect young people to jobs. The quicker you do that, the earlier you do that, the higher the likelihood is they're going to get a job quickly after coming out of university. Because one myth that I want to continue to pound away on, a lot of people have for years thought, oh, well, if I get a government scholarship, then at the
Mm-hmm.
end of university, I'm a quote unquote free agent, so I can go work anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually the least desirable position to be in. The best position to be in is to have a scholarship that is part funded by the private sector. Because if they're investing in you during your education,
Mm-hmm.
you have an automatic job. The second best option is to have those connections from your summer breaks. So you can do internships with a company. You can get to meet them. They can get to meet you. They will see what you like, what you are
Mhm.
like. You can see what they are like because you want to get the best possible fit. Because as you
Right.
know, Sandra, in an employment relationship, sometimes styles just make fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a person may flourish in one company, but struggle in another environment and nothing about them or the company. But not every culture matches up with every individual. And that's why people change jobs a lot of times. A lot of times it's
Mm-hmm.
not just about money or a promotion. A lot of times people are just looking for that employer, that environment that really, really suits them the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take accounting firms, my old profession. Some people may much rather be at a small firm. Others may want like a Grant Thornton. Some people may want to be at a larger firm like a PwC or an EY. Not that
Mm-hmm.
either of those firms are bad. It's just that each firm doesn't match up with everybody's desires, personality. So I want to encourage young people to get access to internships as quickly and early as possible. Those
Mm-hmm.
connections will bear fruit once you graduate from
Mm-hmm.
university. But again, I
Right.
encourage everyone, get your applications in, right? We've
Mm-hmm.
extended the deadline, so let's get those applications in so that they can be processed and heard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Carrie says, I hope this co-partnering with government scholarships is not just lip service. So, Minister, obviously the scholarship program has been in place for a very, very long time. And we know that it has assisted a lot of Caymanians. Do we have any stats that you might have available for us to show that this is not lip service? How many Caymanians are actually benefiting from local scholarships?
Sandra, first of all, I don't understand the comment at all.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. This is the scholarship program. We're just talking about our scholarship program and making sure that people know that the deadline has been extended so that we can get our young people applying. There's lip service. We spend $34 million on our young people every year on across all scholarships and grants.
Mm-hmm.
That's not lip service, that's impact, right? There's very few countries in the world where
Mm-hmm.
once you meet the grade criteria, you're guaranteed to get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, in the United States and just about every other country, persons still have to either get, persons typically don't have access to a scholarship. You need to start
Mm-hmm.
from scratch and hope that you can get a grant or something from the university you're applying to, right? There is no such thing as nationalized access to university in just about any country.
Right.
And so take even our mother country, the UK. Thank God we have home fees, but home fees is still a fee.
Yeah.
That is covered by everyone or young people that are in the UK. That's covered by the Cayman Islands government. And that's the other thing, Sandra, that I think is critically important for me to mention at this juncture as well. I want to encourage families to work with your young people. Parents, please think through with your young people where you're going to university. Ensure you map out what your finances is going to look for, right? Because a lot of times people don't understand that we have an equitable system. What do I mean by that? We fund everyone to 30,000. If you're studying education, you get 35,000 CI dollars per annum. We do that, Sandra, so that we can get everyone access. People sometimes choose universities in the United States that are extremely expensive. And then they haven't ensured that they have secured that funding gap. Now, Sandra, you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it over and over and over. You can go to Cambridge, top university in the world, for 30-something thousand CI dollars. Try that at the equivalent Ivy League school in the United States.
Yeah.
It's well over $150,000, so 5 times the amount.
Yes.
So these are choices, right? These are choices. My point is to parents, think very clearly and carefully through the choices. Now, I'm happy to say that more and more and more of our students do attend university in the UK. And a lot of that is driven by home fees, as well as rightly it should be, because the last thing a person wants to do is go to university and be saddled with student loan debt coming out of university when it can be avoided. So I say to parents, plan carefully, ensure that wherever you're going to choose to study, you've mapped out what that's going to look like. Nothing's more saddening than to get communication coming back from persons who've just started university and they're already in a financial bind because everything wasn't mapped out properly as to how they were going to fund the difference between what the university's all-in cost, which would include tuition, books, etc., but accommodation, flights, food. So, it needs to be planned out. And that information is available, right? It's available, readily available to all parents, and certainly anyone that needs that sort of advice, email the secretariat. But our young people are having access to some of the finest universities in the world. And we just need to ensure that we bridge that gap. And that's a critically important piece of work that's been started between the Ministry of Caymanian Employment and our ministry, is how we bridge that gap from university to the world of work. We acknowledge, we accept, we've said this publicly, but I'll say it again. We don't have a national manpower database. Both of our ministers are committed to making that happen. On the Ministry of Education side, we need to invest in technology so that we can seamlessly provide work with data and the labor market with data. That is how we're going to be able to ensure that none of our young people, quote unquote, fall through the cracks. Because you've heard me say this before, I'm not going to make an excuse for an employer, but it is challenging, especially if you're a small company, to make an employment decision today. And then tomorrow, a young person applies to you for a job and you knew nothing about that person. And what's worse, you don't have ready access to information that you can then use to plan your business. So this is a key investment. So this isn't just an investment for investment's sake. This is about making sure that our young people are set up for success. We need to get a return on this money that we're spending This is I tell people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My two ministries are aligned in particular in this area.
Mm-hmm.
What is one of the key drivers to economic development? Human capital. You
Right.
gotta have great human capital to have optimal economic development in any country. Skills drive economic development. And so on the Ministry of Education side, the work we do is a key component to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, because that is how we're going to drive the engine. The Cayman engine is providing highly skilled, highly trained young people who can get access to the world of work. And I'll throw a plug here, Sandra, because I know sometimes these seats called ministers can get lonely. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
people can complain about all sorts of things, but the fact
Right.
is, we know our immigration system was broken, and we know we needed drastic measures to address some of the glaring weaknesses, Sandra. And so, because just the other day, I was out in the public, and someone was there
Mm-hmm.
criticizing us, saying, "Well, why did you all go so far with immigration, this, that, and the other?" And I said, "Did you listen?" I asked them a simple question. I said, "Did you listen to me on the campaign trail?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Did you listen to anyone on the campaign trail?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of a single candidate in the last general elections that did not campaign on immigration reform. We all did. And we all know that the system is broken. But you see, Sandra, that's what happens to us in Cayman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The systems are broken. And then when government goes to fix them, because you can't do everything to 100% please everyone, then people want to complain about the changes. Look, it's not gonna be a perfect model, but it's certainly going to be better than we got right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we needed change. The case for change has been in existence for at least the last decade in Cayman. And now we finally had a government that could actually come together and agree what that change needed to look like. We kicked that can down the road way, way too long. But we're here now. And so our work is to support the labor market. And the scholarship program is about supporting the labor market.
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and read some comments now. Thank you so much, Minister, for that. We got a show comment on the screen. And I know that some of you might notice, someone said to me earlier, Sandy, I really like some of the graphics you've been doing lately. Honey child, I'm in constant learning mode myself, and I'm learning to help myself more and more every single day. So I did this one this morning. This is kind of a new style for the what's
I
up
like this.
questions. Yeah,
I
I
like
normally just screenshot them and put them up, but I'm trying to always learn. Education is lifelong, right? So elevating my skill set. And so here
Tell
we
us
go.
the truth,
This is,
Sandra. Is it AI?
of course it is. I mean, it's made,
I,
it's,
I needed to make sure you said that.
look, it's made my life so much easier. But listen,
Right.
AI is a funny thing because you get out what you put in. So you have to understand how to utilize the tools effectively.
Sure.
And so you don't get this quality of graphic just throwing in any kind of nonsense. So here we go. Question that has come in. This one says, good morning, Sandy. I hope I can catch the minister. 2 questions. Very commendable is the assistance for early education. Are the teachers in those schools properly qualified? So I'll allow you to answer that one first.
So Sandra, that you heard me make mention that we're working in the background right now about how we're going to assist early learning centers.
Yes.
The short answer is no. In a lot of centers, we don't have qualified early years professionals. And we know that that's a gap. We know that's a significant weakness in our system. That's driven principally around the demand that's out there, and a lot of working families can't afford $1,500 a month to access centers that do have highly qualified practitioners. That's the cost right now, Sandra. You $1,500 and up to access a highly rated early learning center. What we are working on in the ministry is coming up with what is going to be a proposal that I'll be taking to my caucus around how we will support all centers, to lift standards and ensure that quality of provision is constant and that we're really, really, really upskilling the persons who are working at a lot of these centers.
Okay. Second part to the question says, is it coming more to the forefront that laptops for 5-year-olds is what is setting them back? What is the possibility of a change and going back to real reading and writing? And I like this question because, everyone I think knows how much I love and I enjoy technology, but there is good evidence to demonstrate that younger children do not learn best with these technological tools. They need the old, play. So I was reading something and listening to something the other day about daycare and how children, younger than basically 4 or 5 years old, don't need that daycare environment for development of social skills, because when they are with each other, they're not even playing with each other. I forget what the technical term is about what it is that they kind of do, but they need that one-on-one, as much of that one-on-one attention as possible. And so technology has its place. Of course, we live in a technologically driven world, but yes, children, and the younger they are, need less technology, less screen time. So what are your thoughts about this, about 5-year-olds having laptops?
Well, Sandra, let me clarify one thing first of all on the very first question. Every center though does have at least one qualified teacher. And so the idea there is that they then can model for all the other persons that are at the center and at least keep standards, try to keep standards as high as possible. But we know that once a center gets a certain number of students there, then or children there, then of course it becomes awfully difficult to continue to drive standards in a lot of these centers, because it's our families accessing centers that are either close to them or centers that are affordable. And then, of course, ECAP assisting to get as many children in as early as possible. Devices for young children. Sandra, I've spoken about this publicly now a number of times. I believe that we are doing a lot of harm to our young children when we allow devices to babysit them. This is at home, but this starts at home. So my first message is to parents: start restricting the device time.
Yep.
Start restricting device time, especially for children that are awfully young. The evidence is building. It is linked to things like ADHD,
Yep.
ADD.
Yep.
How can you expect a child that you've allowed at home to spend hours either on your phone or on a device, all of a sudden when they get to a center or reception, to be able to pay attention? They are so locked in. Their
Yes.
brains have become so locked in on being stimulated by a device versus a human being and those who are around them. And so it's showing up in behavior.
Yeah.
It's showing up in children just not being ready to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
Sandra,
their emotional wellness as well. I mean, I should say this, I share this with our cousins overseas. Even 12 and 13-year-olds having access to cell phones is not a good idea. From a child safety perspective, when we go over on tomorrow's show what the RCIPS had to say about child safeguarding, that's one of the main concerns for them now, is the use of technology and the easy access that predators can have to your children. But even their emotional well-being, they're more likely to suffer from depression and antisocial behavior once you get them these phones and these devices. So folks, really reconsider, allowing your children to have those devices.
no, Sandra, I've heard differing views around socialization. Here's what I'm going to say. I believe there's huge benefits to having children interacting with other children so that they can start to learn how to regulate themselves, how to share, how to coexist with persons who are not their family. So I yes, of course you want as much one-to-one attention and that's awfully good. But just being around your peers and your peer group, I can't agree with anyone who says that doesn't have a hugely important benefit. I think it's hugely important for socialization. Sandra, I can remember to this day being at Miss Izzy's school. That was the first time I got out of our homestead where I was surrounded by all my cousins and a few persons who weren't direct family, but were neighborhood friends. That was my first time at 4 years old. I can still remember, and I still get this, Sandra. I still have 4 friends. To this day, I still have 4 friends that I met, and just the other day, I saw one of them, and they were with they were with one of their children, and I walked up and we greeted each other, and I looked at him and I said, "Happy 50th." And he kind of looked at me. He's like, "What are you talking about now?" And his child looked on, and they're like, "Happy 50th." I said, "Yeah, this year is 50 years that since me and your father have been friends." So I think the two go hand in hand, Sandra.
Yeah.
The two
No,
go hand in
and to be clear, what I was referring to, and I'll try to find the clip, but it is really talking about when you start. And it's not as early as people think in terms of when social interaction is required. But I'm going to find the clip because it's a really interesting one. And of course, I like to
You
share
sent it
these
to me,
tidbits.
Sandra.
I definitely will.
No, you sent it to me already.
Oh,
I saw
I
it.
did send it to you. Oh,
Yes. So I
I
know the
was
clip you're
thinking, oh,
referring to.
good. Oh, good. Well, hold on. Let me have a look. Let me try and find
You
it.
sent to me,
I was
think,
trying
a
to,
couple of weeks ago or
yes,
last week sometime.
last week probably. Yeah, because it
But
was recent. So let me, oh yes, I'm gonna play it
while
for
you're
listeners.
looking for
But
that,
yes.
Sandra, let me also say to you,
Mm-hmm.
Google Sweden and one-to-one device policies.
Mm-hmm.
I think globally everybody accepts that Sweden is a society that has a first-rate education system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Guess what Sweden has reversed course on?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
One-to-one device policy. So Sweden is reversing its digital first. This is a quote. Sweden is reversing its digital first educational policy, scaling back on one-to-one device initiatives after finding links to declining reading, comprehension, and attention spans. Does that sound familiar? Like what I was just saying? Following a decade of high-tech integration, the government is investing over 100 million euros to bring back physical textbooks, handwritten notes, and traditional tactile learning. So the fact is, right? You see, man has this way of coming up with bodies of ideas that seem very, very good at the time, and not necessarily forecasting and thinking through what all the outcomes and impacts are going to be. And so we're finding, I can tell you, Sandra, in our school visits, a constant theme at every single school were teachers complaining in different ways about our one-to-one device policy.
Right.
So here's the complaints we get. Students don't take any care or value for them. In general, there's just way too much damage. Sometimes the damage is on purpose so that they can then not have to fully participate in a lesson. So remember the old dog ate my homework? Well, if the laptop is broken, then coming to school with laptops not charged. Those issues, we're looking at rolling out laptop carts so that we can keep these devices at school for the majority of the time and only being sent home when children have homework and have to access them for educational purposes. Critically important. We are spending tons of money on repairs and new devices. The other thing that strikes me, Sandra, is the fact that especially, so let's get back to the question. In the early years, we need to be very thoughtful around how we integrate technology in our teaching and learning, because we need to ensure that our children are getting those base skills that they have to have to survive in the world.
Right.
And so what has happened with us is, and I can hear older people now, including my family, people marvel when a 2-year-old child can flick on a screen and a 3-year-old child can flick and move things around and push the right icon to access. Sandra, it's real.
Yeah, no.
You know,
I get it.
It's real.
Yeah.
And so we need to go on a huge public awareness campaign
Yes.
as a country
Yep.
around the dangers of screen time. And that
Absolutely.
children need to get outside and breathe,
Mm-hmm.
have some fun, play, sweat. A little sweating will kill anybody.
Yep.
Sometimes I swear now with the new Cayman that, my goodness, if a person is hot for 2 seconds, it's death. I didn't have AC when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to me like I survived.
Right.
You
So
survived.
is there any, someone is asking then, is there any thought about why year one students are given laptops in schools, if the ministry is rethinking that?
Because we haven't finished the policy work yet. So
Okay.
we're in the midst now, and we have our last visit at a compulsory school, primary school that is. So we're at the Theoline McCoy Primary School today,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, it's at the Further Education Center, and then we will have completed all of our visits. Sandra, I don't believe in knee-jerk reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Research, data, you discuss with the experts, the team at the ministry. We have lots of thoughts around a lot of things. Now we have to now ensure that we are working with all colleagues and getting views and opinions. Now we've gotten tons of views and opinions with these visits. We need to now take that data, go through it. Here's the cut themes that have cut across all of the schools. Now what's our approach going to be? So I can't just have a knee-jerk reaction.
Right.
So that is something that is under review, and making sure that we are not only issuing devices at the appropriate times, but that we are very thoughtful around the length of time that children have access to those devices throughout the run of a day.
Yep. Folks, that's a triple D. We always talk about it here in this program, data-driven decisions, and you need policy around it. So here's a couple video clips. One of our listeners just shared, and the other one I did find that I had shared with the minister. Sometimes I forget, that's midlife brain there. But here we go, folks. Have a listen to some of these, and then we'll do rapid fire through some of the comments as we start to wrap up.
Don't need other kids until the age of 3. They do something called parallel play. What they need is one-on-one connection. They need attachment security, and they need their emotional needs met by one person, one-on-one. After 3, then the beginning of preschool, then they start to actually interact with one another. Until then, they're not playing together. They're just doing parallel play. So that's another myth. The myth that daycare is good for children for socialization. No.
And of course, again, she's talking about a much younger age. So yes, 3 plus 4, 5, then at that stage, it really does matter. What is interesting about this, and this is an aside point really, that oftentimes I tell people when parents, young Caymanians in particular, speak to me about, Miss Sandy, I'm going to have baby number 5. And I'm thinking, why? One of the questions I always say to them is how much individual time, because this has always been something, even in my own life experience growing up in a large family of like 7, 8 children overall, right? And I was the youngest. I said, how much time will you have on an individual basis to give to each child, right? Oh, you want to go to the movies, you round up all 5 children, you all go, okay, that's fine sometimes. But what if child number 1 just needs some one-on-one time with mom or dad? When you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children, it becomes infinitely more difficult. And at some point, I would say near impossible for you to spend good quality individual time with each of those children. So just food for thought, especially when they are younger. But even as children get older, they need to be sitting down and having those conversations with you. Now, here's another one that was just shared with by one of our listeners. Thank you guys so much.
This man at all costs.
My name is Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath. I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Every generation has outperformed their parents, and that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids. And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Jean was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries. Bring it home to the US. Let's go to the US. We have our NAEP. That's our big data. Take any state, and here's a fun experiment you can try. Take any state NAEP data, compare that to when that state adopted one-to-one technology widely, and watch what happens. The NAEP data will plateau and then start to drop. Of course, this is all correlative. What we really want is causative. To get causation, what you need is academic research, and you need mechanisms, explanations for why we're seeing what we're seeing. Luckily, we have academic research stretching back to 1962 that shows the exact same story for 60 years. When tech enters education, learning goes down. In fact, because what do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what do we want our children to do and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress, that is surrender. So as we go through our discussion today, there's gonna be a lot of talk about smartphones and social media, rightly so. But I'm the voice here to remind you that even in schools, it doesn't matter what the size of the screen is, if it's a phone, if it's a laptop, if it's a desktop, and it doesn't matter who bought it. Is it school sanctioned? Does it have the word education stamped on it? It doesn't matter. All of these things are also going to hurt learning, which in turn are going to hurt our kids' cognitive development, right at the time when we need our kids to be sharper than we are.
This has to stop.
Wow. Shocking, Minister. That's food for thought.
Yeah, well, Sandra, I think I'll draw you back. I spoke about the one-to-one device policy months ago on our show. I don't think we had even formally called it Minister Matters yet. And I think you will recall I received a number of calls telling me and warning me that no, it's not necessarily the tools. It's about parents and parents who are responsible, and that I dare not touch it. Look, right now, let me be clear. The one-to-one device policy was rolled out, and as I understand it, there were no success measure or key performance indicators established when you did it. Not good policy. We need to ensure that we have an outcome in mind, and then we can measure progress toward that outcome to determine if it was a good policy. The other thing is we don't necessarily have great data around what has been the impact. Now, proponents.
Well, it seems like based on this now, there is data out there. We might not have it for Cayman specifically, but there is data out there. So we don't oftentimes have to reinvent the wheel, right? We can learn and take from others.
That's why I mentioned Sweden. That's why I mentioned Sweden. If Sweden is reversing course, then we can't be happy-go-lucky down here in the Caribbean and saying, oh, in Sweden, they must have gotten it wrong. There's a reason they have made the switch. There's a reason they're reversing course. They have data, and therefore, to your point, we need to learn. Look, when you're learning from others who are doing it well, that's the best way to learn.
Yes.
Sweden does it well, right?
Yeah.
So there's work. There's more work for us to do there. What I'll also add, though, Sandra, is that for us, it's really, really about how we're going to shape the policy going forward. Now, one thing I can tell you, I've said it publicly, I said it on your show, I said it in that parliament. One thing that I am unbending about is cell phones in schools. I think the policy has been finished drafted now, and it's down now for me to review it so that we can roll it out. let me say this clearly. Let me say this very, very slowly. There will not be any cell phones allowed in the Cayman Islands government school system. Period. This, listen, we convince ourselves of so much foolishness as human beings. Oh well, my child needs a cell phone in case of an emergency. So Sandra, let's think about it and let's go back the last 12 months and tell me how many times there has been an incident so important that every child needed a cell phone in school to call their parents. Right? Look, I'm not going to govern for the 0.00001%. I need to set policy for the 99.99999% of the time. And 99.999% of the time, cell phones are a distraction, increases screen time, access to social media, and lots of negative things for people. We have to do what is best for our country, whether it's popular or unpopular. And so that's just where we're at. I'm tired of parents sending me screenshots of their son or daughter in school, showing them online on WhatsApp when they know they're supposed to be in class or in class during lesson time. So
it's yes, absolutely.
So that one's coming. I've announced this before. It was announced in Parliament months ago, but you know how we are in Cayman. We go on that like every time me or another other minister say it, today it's news. This is news, but it's not brand new news. I just want to ensure that everybody gets the memo, gets the message. Cell phones will be banned in government schools. I've heard all sorts of proposals around, oh, well, you can have cell phone pouches. And listen, our teachers are already overwhelmed with ensuring that they can deliver the national curriculum. The last thing I need to now do is go to my principals and say, oh, by the way, what we're now going to do is we're going to allow students to come in and we're going to have now pouches, and all of a sudden hundreds of pouches needed to be managed on a day-to-day basis by schools and schools administrators. No. Very simple solution. Very simple, elegant solution. They're banned. I encourage all private schools to take the same approach. There is no place in schools, period.
Yep. And it's one of the things that also encourages a lot of the violence and the fight clubs and stuff and foolishness that we see. And I know I've been writing editorials on this for at least 5 or 6 years now. And that was one of the recommendations, when the last Minister of Education was in, ban cell phones. You shouldn't have them. Alice says, I love that statement, Mr. Anglin. Long overdue. El Rey says, yes. Govern and create policies for the majority, not the minority or exceptions. YouTuber says, thank you, Minister. We really need to go back to the 80s and 90s school rules. No cell phones needed. YouTuber also says, can we also have parenting classes? Give parents the mental and moral tools when it comes to interacting with their children. Andrew weighing in. Andrew says, we have become a society too dependent on technology. ChatGPT is good, but if the system crashes, you have become so dependent on AI doing the work for you, for everything. Are we robots? Irvelin says, yes, leave the cell phones at your yard. But again, says YouTuber, parents shouldn't have to be told this. Look at the child and you know the type of parent raising them. Where's my kaboom button? I mean, but let's also help each other out, right? So let's assume that not all parents have had the benefit of, because if that is logically true, YouTuber, and again, I always go back to my own personal experience. If it's logically true that you look at the parent, you look at the child, you see what the parent is doing, but what if I didn't have that example in my own life? Does that mean that we're doomed forever? No. We can change the narrative and we can learn. I'm living proof of that myself, right? So I had 2 very, very distinct experiences as a child growing up in Tampa for 15 years. There were rules. boundaries, limitations, everything in place. I didn't have that when I was in Cayman. Had I stayed in Cayman, I can tell you right now that I would be a very different person. Probably, in and out of Fairbanks. I would have had the 10 children myself, like all of these things. So not everyone has had the benefit of an Aunt Lottie in their lives. So we as a community have to make sure that we come together and we help each other where we can. And we hold each other accountable, but we also provide the resources and the tools for people to be able to make better decisions. All right. I do know that the minister has got to go. He's gone a little bit
Sandra,
into overtime.
Just before I do go though, we didn't manage to cover passport to success.
Oh,
And so-
yes.
And so I do want to ensure that we just cover this very quickly. And you know that this program is very near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
This program was my flagship program in employment and employability skills that we started in 2011. I'm happy to say that that's one program that certainly survived various administrations and continues to have a positive impact with young people. So, of course, it's a structured work readiness program designed to develop key employability skills, including communication, professionalism, and positive workplace attitudes. It's for Caymanians between the ages of 15 and 18 who are either in compulsory education, including those completing their current school year in June of 2026. So the program runs for 6 weeks. It's going to start on 13th of July to the 21st of August 2026. So it's 3 weeks. It's structured training, 2 weeks of an internship placement, 1 week of review, and then for completion preparation. Applications opened from the 27th of April. Open from 27th of April. So that's next week. And then the form can be found at the scholarships page. So it's MOE scholarships plural.gov.ky. The deadline for application is the 31st of May. And email is nationaltraining@gov.ky. But again, Sandra, we'll be able to send you all that information if you don't have it already, just so that can get distributed and get as widely distributed as possible. Look, I say, and I'll say this until the cows come home. Transitioning from school, whether it's university or SciFec, UCCI associates, UCCI certificate programs, transitioning to the world of work includes lots and lots and lots of soft skills.
Thank you.
Lots of soft skills, Sandra. And the soft skills is what can cause people to fail. It can be a key determining factor, not whether you're bright or whether you can learn, but it's about how much of a team player you are, how you fit into the team at work, how resilient you are to ensure that you are constantly improving, you're constantly learning, right? I say to people all the time that come to me and they'll say, well, Mr. Ralston, I need you to talk to such and such company. I said, why? Well, they got me doing 2 jobs. And I said, okay, what do you mean? They explain it. I say to them, be glad that they're asking you to do 2 duties, because that's going to make you more employable than the person next to you who's doing 1 thing. Being able to do more than 1 thing, especially at small companies. Sandra, right now, CMR is a small company. Suppose you had to now bring in someone to do all your tech, to do all of this, to do all of that, versus all that you do. Your company wouldn't be nearly as successful. Right now, you perform multiple tasks.
That's right.
And so, Caymanians, I encourage you, look, when you're at work and you finish what you're doing, go to your supervisor. Either ask for more work or ask for something that's not quite in your area to learn a new skill. Learn what the person next to you is doing that you don't quite understand. Because at some point, if, for example, that company decides they're going to downsize or pivot and go in a new direction, they're going to keep on board the person that can do 2 and 3 and 4 tasks, the person that is a much more rounded team player. So don't see opportunity to have more tasks as your boss or your company trying to take advantage of you. They're investing in you. Because the fact is, the person that can do 5 tasks is going to be 5 times more likely to be retained or promoted than the person that can only execute one task. Right?
Absolutely.
And those are the sort of attitudinal shifts, Sandra, that we need to make sure that we're imparting to our young Caymanians. Look, get in there, be a sponge, learn everything you possibly can learn. And it's that sort of taking a step back and not going with, oh, well, we're training people in a specific skill. Passport to success is just that, a passport to your success. And so I really want to applaud the employees, the staff in the National Training Unit, who's now with the Ministry of Education, and for all the great work that they're doing. And certainly we got some programs in the future that we're going to be excited to roll out. But great work happening. Passport to Success opens July 13th through 21st of August. Go on to the ministry's website, apply. If you have questions, email nationaltraining@gov.ky. Get your young person in, because it's critically important that these soft skills are continued to be enhanced by our Caymanians.
All right, a few more comments. And I see Aisle 2012 is upset. So you didn't leave enough time for the public to engage because you've been sending a lot of questions. I'm sorry. The minister had to go. He has to go. He hasn't gone yet. And in addition to that, lots of questions were coming in. Caller, you got a lot of background noise there. I don't know what you can do about that for me. But it's probably going to be somewhat. There we go. I think that's somewhat better. Question.
I'm not sure. I'm in the car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was saying, sorry, morning.
Morning.
Nothing beats pen and paper. I got be old school till I die. I'm now 54. I said up to yesterday at work that I'm so happy that I had my children when I had my children, because there's no way in the world that I was going to raise my children with this era that they have now with all these electronic stuff. Everybody just shove it as they're born. They're putting up cell phone in their hand and all these electronic stuff, and you don't see children outside anymore.
Yeah.
Just saying all that to say, what I did as a parent, I identified my youngest daughter. She's now 25. My baby. I identified her as a baby from she woke up in the morning. She used to say pen, and I noticed that she wanted to be scribbling on paper. So I said to my helper, at the time, I still have her, and I said to her, start giving her a piece of paper. So she used to be scribbling all kind of little foolishness, but that's fine. And she used to watch Dora the Explorer, which spoke English and Spanish, because her daughter is Spanish. So she loved that. And then Dora the Explorer obviously was very educational, so she watched that whenever. And then she got to a point that I told my helper then, make her start writing her ABCs, 1, 2, 3, write her name, cat, rat, all of the normal stuff that they would have to learn, from small. And, she got so good at it that when she went into, you have a 1 year compulsory to go to preschool before you go into primary school. When she went to Sister Janice's preschool, that was her first day going in there. She was so advanced going in there that they put her in the graduating class that was coming out to go to primary school. And she say not to say again, she continued that. She went on to primary school, stayed on the honor roll. Every year she was on the honor roll. When she was going to middle school, we call it George 6, I said to her, you were on the honor roll. I don't find it. I don't think that, and I know I'm not a very strict parent, but I know when to be strict. And I said to her, you've been on the honor roll right through primary school, so you're going to middle school now. You're gonna either stay on the same path or you're gonna go higher. You try not to go lower. You don't try to aim for lower, you try to aim for higher. And she said, okay, Mama. And she stayed on that path and she went right through high school, the same thing. She graduated with honors. She did very, very well. To me, it all goes back. Yes, the parent. She brought homework that I didn't even know how to do. But thank the Lord that she was bright enough to know how to do the work that she brought home. So, because some of the stuff that she did, we didn't have when we went to schools. And I'm being honest with that. So I just say, that pen and paper don't fail. The pen and paper definitely don't fail. So we could all go back to that. This all the screen time. I watch videos that these children, they having all these temper tantrums. It's nowhere in the world that could happen in my house. I'm so sorry that what I see going on now on the internet is disgraceful. And again, some of the parents just give them the devices just so they don't have to deal with them and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colin. I never did parent like that. And I just think going back to the pen and paper and making them learn from scratch instead of putting all the devices in their hand.
Yeah.
We can't go wrong. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Yep, there's balance in a lot of this stuff as well. So another comment says banning cell phones is one thing. WhatsApp can be used on iPads and laptops, the same computers the ministry is giving the students. I'm surprised that, let me actually say this, Minister, this is something that just came to my mind because I'm surprised that those laptops and computers don't have very, very strict security protocols.
They do, Sandra. Yeah. So that was the point I was going to make. We don't just give you a wide open laptop or device and just say, here you go, right?
But let me ask you a question here. A couple weeks ago, I did receive a complaint from a parent who said there was an incident, and I want to say it was Savannah Primary, I'll have to double check, where some of the boys were actually at home when they took their laptops home, and even in the classroom, they were accessing pornography somehow.
Yes.
And I was shocked to hear that could even be possible. What sort of failures happened that made that possible?
So Sandra, it's VPNs, right? One, as you know, trying to chase the ever-evolving world of underground VPNs is like a puppet chasing its tail. And so we continually in the ministry and the department push out blockers on all these devices. But young children continually search and find new VPNs that's not in the blocking algorithm. And so we continue to struggle in this area. I have to be honest. We got that complaint at schools. Teachers told us the exact same thing. And so one of the things that we haven't got back to as yet is talking to our technology lead around how we're going to better secure these devices, right? There is lots of blockers on them. I can tell you that. But I need to get firsthand because I still haven't gotten a response in terms of a meeting to say, tell me so that I can understand, because I know this much.
Yeah.
In signing off on the subscriptions that we have in this ministry, we subscribe to lots and lots and lots and lots of technology, and a lot of it is around these systems that are supposed to be blocking and keeping the system protected and safe for our children. But it is an issue. I'm not going to run and hide from that. It is an issue. It's been reported to us. We're very much aware of it, and we're working on it. Sadly, Sandra, one of the things that has happened is a lot of parents think that we can just take a device, lock it off, install all the programs on the hard drive, and just keep it blocked from the internet. There just isn't a lot of programs out there that work that way these days, right? The programs by nature that we use have to have connectivity for the programs to function. And if you completely lock it down, then it can't be used for the purpose in the first instance, right?
I'm thinking, Minister, as you're speaking to me, my brain is working overtime because, when I had my internet cafe there in West Bay, we had an incident where a gentleman was sitting there looking at pornography on one of the computers, and I was shocked to see it because we could actually from our internet cafe protocol software, we could see what people were doing if we needed to. And I didn't even see it there because I didn't tend to really monitor what people were doing. I walked by and I saw him doing this, and right behind him was a child. And from that very second, I said, oh, no. We cannot have a situation where people can come into our internet cafe and access pornography here. In broad daylight with like children in there playing games and stuff, I was shocked. But there was actually a software, I can't remember the name of it now, that I found at the time and I deployed and used that was really, really good. In fact, it was so amazing that it actually it saved me so much time, because when people would come in and do stuff on the computer and make changes or try to save files, every single time we restarted the machines, it went back to like a frozen state, like whatever state we said, this is where we want it to be. But we were also able to give certain permissions for certain types of websites only. So nobody could go on there and search for any keywords that had to do with, pornography or sex or anything like that, and they'd be able to get out. So there are tools out there, because my gosh, this was a really long time ago that I had my internet cafe there. And in fact, Minister, I donated when I closed down the cafe. I remember this with, he was in IT at the time, Barnes.
Lance Barnes.
Lance Barnes. I donated my license for that software to education through him. So I don't know whatever happened to it. He might remember the name of it. Maybe it just stopped being used. I don't really know. But I do remember us making that corporate donation at the time. So maybe I'll touch bases with Lance to see if he remembers. But that one was really good. I don't know if the company's still around or how the software has changed, but I thought that was the most effective one, certainly that I found. Because again, in that type of environment, you had people, trying to do all sorts of stuff. So there are tools out there. I think you guys just need to find the right one.
So
right.
It's an issue that's been reported, and it's certainly something that is in the works for us to ensure that we keep our children safe, and that the teaching and learning is what the technology is there to support. I want to be clear. I'm not suggesting a complete technology ban. I just think we need to look at all of the age appropriateness, the amount of maximum screen time, if any, by year group, and then also ensuring that we're keeping our devices as safe as possible.
Right. Because Shaka says Caymanian youth need to be prepared for the future, and the future does entail tech on many levels. That's absolutely. Right. And to be clear, Shaka Zulu, what we're defining as tech, we also need to be very, very careful about. I'm always very, very interested to see, there's an interview where people talk about Tim Cooks and all these tech gurus who, created Apple products and whatever. And someone said, when you go to their dining room table, they don't give their children iPads and iPhones and all these tech tools. What they do is they have them talking about art. They take them to museums. So that's why when I get on here and I say, gosh, every time we go to the States, we go to Miami, whatever. Yes, we know Caymanians love to shop. Can't take that away from you. I see y'all up in Walmart. I'm there with you. But also expose your children to experiences. Take them to art shows. Like this past year, we were going to go to Art Basel show in Miami so that Gigi could she loves art, right? She wants to start crocheting. Like these are the things that you need to get your children interested in, and expose them to it. Take them to the fair where they can see what a state fair looks like. And, that's always a fun time for children. Get those devices out of their hands. I hear you about technology. There's a time and place, and they will learn it. It's impossible really for children to grow up in a world now where they have no access to tech, I think. So it's not like they're going to be tech, unintelligent because they don't have access to a cell phone constantly in their hands. That's the balance I think that honestly you're seeking. So Shaka, we're on board. Listen, even what we're doing here right now with this show, if it were not for technology, I chuckled when the minister said, being able to have numerous skill sets. And I saw someone said something about, I think that was Keith Orritt, says studies have shown that multitasking becomes very stressful. I don't think he was really talking about multitasking. He was talking about having the ability within a job to do more than one thing. So you can't be singular in how you approach your job. And business owners know this the most, right? So a business owner isn't stuck in, I can only, market, you gotta be your own marketing guru sometimes. You gotta understand different technological elements to your business. You have to understand your core business software and systems. I mean, you are a master and at the same time a jack of all trades, right? Yep. So that's what he's talking about. And sometimes as Caymanians, we get pigeonholed. Like, I'm a receptionist. All I should be able to do is answer the phone. In this day and age, no, receptionist has to be responding to emails, booking client appointments, yes, taking phone calls, maybe running and go making a cup of coffee. You've got to be able to do more than one thing. So that's what I think the minister, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what the minister was talking about. We're not talking about multitasking where you're trying to do 50 things at once and not getting all of them right. But there also is an element of multitasking, just like I'm doing. Listen to me now. Listen very, very carefully. As these comments are coming in, you see me making the graphics for them. That's happening in real time. I'm not sending that to anybody else. I'm doing that myself. You mean to tell me that my how old am I now? 52? Soon to be 53-year-old brain can't do that, plus listen to the minister, plus get to some of your comments and come on. I think we're underselling ourselves, Keith, when we talk about, we're being stressed out by multitasking. Sometimes our own expectations of our own performance leads to how stressed out we are.
That's right.
Point. I'm going to throw this out there. I don't want to throw former minister Sabrina Turner under the bus, but I can tell you, since Sabrina has been doing her show in the evening, she said to me how grateful she has been for the opportunity to, I kind of pushed her in at the deep end after a week of holding her hands on the board and all this kind of stuff. She said, Sandy, I had no idea that I was even capable of half of this stuff. She said, this is so amazing because for the umpteenth years that she sat at Radio Cayman, she had someone doing it all for her. Someone was drafting the show notes, drafting the show script word by word, handing her the script, somebody else doing the board. They're bringing in the phone calls. They put up their finger or a little flasher. We got a caller. Now she's doing all of that as a one-man show and she can do it. And she's like, this is so amazing. It's possible because of the technology. So let's be honest about, again, the tech that's available to us. And number two, she wasn't stuck in this mindset that, oh my God, I can't do it. I said, listen, Sabrina, I do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyone in theory can do it. You've just got to be willing to get past those mental barriers that a lot of us put in our own way. Couple more comments, Minister, and then we're going to let you run. Please indulge me. This one says, good morning, Sandy and Raleigh. So glad no phones in schools, and some of these Slack parents will want to curse him out for the policy, but thank God he's putting his foot down. We have to start working on the dress code and the hairstyles too. I know that that's been worked on before, but it seems like things are getting a little bit slacker, so the minister might have to rein that in. Thank you so much, Shaka, for that comment about tech. Miss Lady D says parents also have to take that extra step by putting blockers on their IP addresses at the computer as well. I did it in my computer. It made that extra step on the browser. Yes, at home, your children should not have free access to any and everything. And even the gaming systems and consoles that you're using, as you'll hear the police mention tomorrow, is a gateway to people getting access to your children. So you better be sitting there with your children. We have a PS5 in my house. There's certain games that Gianna can play on that. She likes her little Lego building game, right? I'm not a gamer, so I'm not into any of that. But the only reason why we have it is because her father, who happens to be a gamer a little bit, he can sit down with her. So if she's on her little, what's the little portable one called? Lord,
you're asking the wrong person.
I don't even know. It's long like this and whatever, but she does her little, I think it's Lego. Is it the Lego game where she's building stuff? And anyway, one of those, I can't remember what it's called now, but this little game console. So she uses that. She doesn't normally get to do anything on the PS5. And he has one and he's able to sit there and watch the game that she's in. So watch her build out her little cities. They made a movie. The game that she always plays is off of some movie they did. I can't keep up with this stuff, honestly. But anyway, my point being is that her father is in the game with her. And he's the only person that is allowed to play, because you can obviously build your own little city and then see other people. So he has one, she has one, and they sit there and they build together, right? That's what parents switch. Thank you, Sophia. There you go. Yes, she's got the switch. Roll. What's it called? Roll blocks or something close to that. Yes.
Can't help you with that, Sandra. But Sandra, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's be clear now. Let's be clear. Marlon is a tech person.
Right.
Marlon's a tech person.
Yeah.
And therefore he is acutely aware of all those risks and how to mitigate those risks.
Yeah.
Now, let's draw this to a future show.
Mm-hmm.
A future show is going to be around the National PTA. I want to ensure that all PTAs start to operate very much uniformly and start to truly be a parent-teacher association that does drive a lot of upskilling of our parents. And I use upskilling in quotes. Take, for example, the comment you saw just now of how one particular parent talked about IP blockers. A lot of our parents need to get these access to this sort of knowledge because a lot of them don't know how to do this. And
Right.
so we one of the things that I've said constantly, and I've said to the team, and I've said to a few of the PTA presidents, we want to start not only having what does a model PTA look like, but also ensuring that all PTAs engage in some parental training and tidbits, and making sure that they roll it out to parents, not just those who attend. We have the technology. Here's another good use of technology, ensuring that parents who can't make the meeting can log in remotely, either on Teams or some other platform, and get access, because we do appreciate the fact, look, not all parents have all the same skill sets. Some people just don't have any technology knowledge. And so we need to assist them as well. We can't just beat up on them and say that they're quote unquote slack. A lot of people, do, and I'm not making excuses there now, Sandra, but a lot of people don't know. If you don't know how to put blockers in place, if you don't know how to put limits on this, limits that we all can put on the types of programs that your child can have access to and have it locked, that as soon as they reach that 30 minutes, it's locked, right? And so it's that sort of training we need to really ensure. And my vision, Sandra, is not just, it's about, firstly, school, home is the first school. And I'm so happy with the caller. That caller was the epitome of home being the first school. You heard how meticulous she was in her thought process to actually develop all the skills that her child then needed and used.
That's right.
But we also need to bring home into school. Right? School into home, sorry. We need to ensure that we're upskilling and making sure that parents can actually support their children as well. And we can do that by having good quality teaching and learning exercises, not only at PTAs, but rolling out the type of knowledge that parents, so a lot of parents are actually begging for. So a lot of that is really just communication. We already have a lot of this information. Is how do we create for us in Cayman a first-rate ecosystem for education where we have resources and tools. My big picture vision is not only having a great hub for upskilling our teachers, but also sharing the parental tools and ensuring that that's free, that it's accessible, so that parents can log on and say, you know what, I do want my child to have 30 minutes or whatever it is of device time. But what are the recommendations from the ministry? That shouldn't be a parent calling me. That should be information that we are sharing so that parents can then say, okay, this has been researched and it's something that is positive for my child. Let's use this, versus parents having to go through that minefield of programming that's out there. And we know there's tons of programming, some good quality, some not so good. As the young people would say, some of it is brain rot. Right. And so we need to make sure that our parents are being upskilled so that they can support their children. That's a key component during this term, supporting parents to support their children.
Yes. And even though, let me just say this as well, and this is again comes down to educating and making sure that you have a good line of open communication with your children. Because about a month or so ago, my daughter is playing the game and she said something popped up asking her if she wanted to chat with someone or do something.
Wow.
And unfortunately, she closed it out before I could see what it was and screen grab it. So I told her the next time that happens, make sure she lets me see it. This is why, despite, Marlon having the knowledge, things supposed to be not coming on the network within these games, there are always vulnerabilities, and parents, you have got to be active. That's the only way you're going to know. If you put your kid in a corner or in a room by themselves and you let them sit there on their game console, she cannot go to her room she has an iPad, limited time. She can't go to her room with her iPad. She can't go with her game console. You have got to control the access. Computers should not be in rooms with children. They need to be in a common area, right? Where it's like a shared area and other people have access to the computer and can keep an eye on what is going on. We've got to really work hard to protect your children. Morning, Gabby. Andrew's in the house. This final comment of the day, we're going to wrap up here, says the main thing to realize is that we need to be in control of the tech and not the tech in control of us. Social skills and experiences are lacking for our young folk, and I rarely see a young person at the beach or on a bike or kicking a ball anymore. There's little in the way of community nowadays. And let me do a big shout out on that note to the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage. Because when I was at the groundbreaking ceremony for what Minister Isaac Rankin is doing there in East End, when he said we need to have this type of activity in every single one of our districts, this multi-purpose court where they can come out here, they can play football. Those who are not interested in playing football, there's going to be a pickleball area. There's going to be jungle jumping. There are things for them to do. There's going to be a little miniature track so adults can go there and exercise while the children are playing and so on. It's that focus that's also equally important. So we have to, accept that the government is doing multiple things at different times, and sometimes we can't keep up. That's the whole idea behind Ministry Matters. Although Minister Wilkes doesn't yet have a Ministry Matters segment, they did come on last week and talk about Move It Cayman and a whole calendar of events. Right? During this time that you can sign up for, some free, some a nominal fee, get moving, get more active. And you have to, as a parent, if you're more active and you're moving, you're going to be encouraging by your own behavior, your children to do the exact same thing. So you can't sit in front of the TV all day, eating a hamburger and fries and expect your children to want to go outside and kick around a football and play. Lead by example. Minister, thank you so much.
No, it's been a great show, Sandra. And firstly, I want to again do a big shout out to the team across education. Without the team, I can't sit here and I can't deliver on results. And so one of the things that we're going to be coming on, as I said, we need to talk National PTA, Critical Important Initiative, the outcomes of our school visits and some of the new policy directives is a future show that we need to engage in. That'll be in a couple of months' time. But before coming off the air, I do want to ensure that we keep in prayer the families of the young children who have sadly passed away. We've had two in our system, one at the Theodore and McCoy Primary School and one at the Edna Mall Primary School. Let us keep those parents, families, school families, fellow pupils. We've been offering the support that's needed. We will continue to offer that support. Just last weekend, I unfortunately had to attend one of the funerals and to see, one of the teachers just really, really taking it hard. Was moving, was very, very moving. And not only in public schools, we've had two other young people pass away in our community as well. So let us just keep those parents and those families in our prayer, because at the end of the day, no parent should have to bury their child, especially a very, very young child, 9, 10 years old. That's just so heartbreaking and heart-wrenching to go through. I want to also just wish everyone a safe and productive weekend. I know it's Thursday, but I won't be on tomorrow. And also, Sandra, I just want to reinforce what you said. which is a big, big, big shout out and congratulations to Miss Giovanna Wright Ebanks on being named the Deputy Governor Employee of the Year, an outstanding young Caymanian professional who leads by example. The way that she leads that school is incredible. The biggest testament, winning this award is to me, just watching and observing her is what I call a capstone moment, right? That just encapsulates everything that she's brought to the table thus far. Two things that strike me when we met, because remember how we do the meetings. We do a tour, so we see the entire facility, and we ensure that the Department of Education Services is there, parliamentary secretaries, etc. Because we do need to see the campus. We need to pop into some classrooms, visit with children. That's very, very enjoyable. But we need to see, because we know we're going to get requests around facilities. And so it's good to see it before you see the request, because then you can visualize exactly what the ask is and what they're looking to remedy. Once that's over, just myself, the chief officer, the deputy chief officers, and the parliamentary secretaries meet with the principal and senior team by themselves. Then we meet with teachers by themselves. At high schools, we also meet with the school council by themselves. Not even the school counselor. Sorry, not even the teacher that is the guide teacher for the school council. Not even them are allowed to be in the room, because we want to create that safe space so that we get truth and unequivocally truth information. We want every teacher, every person who's interacting with me to feel that safety, to know that they can tell me anything. It's not going to be repeated. It's not going to harm them in any way. There's not going to be any retribution. And I'm happy to say that environment existed 16 years ago when I did these initially. And I want to say thanks to teachers and all involved for trusting us to share so openly. The thing, I draw it back to Miss Principal Wright, the thing that struck me and struck the team was how highly her staff spoke about her. That was the biggest endorsement any principal should dream of. That behind your back, your staff praises your leadership, your fairness, your tenacity, your vision. That means you're doing things right. And so when she won the award, as I sat there that evening, I could only think back, as her name was called, I could only think back of the meeting that we had at the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School and what her staff said about her, what her PTA president and other PTA exec members say about her. So when the message coming from parents and from the teachers that she supervises and leads on a day-to-day basis marries up, when those two messages are identical, you know there's a space of truth and accuracy. And it was just simply recognized now by the deputy governor this year. And so huge congratulations to her, because it's obviously a great moment of pride. The one thing that strikes me about her also is that, trust me, from Monday, the emails were coming in advocating for more resources and more for Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. She doesn't rest on her laurels. This is not a moment of arrival for her. I can tell you that what I know of her, this is simply a recognition in time, but it's on her continuum, that journey that she's on, where she wants personal and professional excellence, and she wants the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School to eventually be rated an excellent school. And so, again, big kudos to her, and the way she recognized in her acceptance speech that she couldn't be standing there without her teachers. That's how she led off. Speaks testament about her as an individual. So once again, huge congratulations from myself and the ministry and the department, and indeed the teaching staff and parents of Sir John A. Cumber Primary School.
Thank you so much, Minister. Really appreciate you always coming on. One suggestion here, which I think is wonderful, is they should utilize the retired educational staff to assist with upskilling parents, as you're missing out on a vast pool of knowledge, skills, and experience in not using former teachers / educational staff. So again, another really great recommendation. Thank you, Lady D, for the condolences to the parents and extended family at the schools of these young people. Just very, very sad situation all the way around. Minister, the Honorable Ralston Anglin, joining us, folks, for another Ministry Matters segment. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to come on. We'll see you next month. I'm away for a couple of weeks, got to take a little vacay to kind of decompress. But of course, we always come back better and stronger. So folks, please tune in tomorrow morning. We're going to go over the RCIPS press conference, which they had yesterday. And then we'll have some open mic opportunity. We got to talk about this big to do or not, ? About the Vibes Cartel concert. And so we got lots of grounds to still cover before I jump on a flight out of here. Minister, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sandra.
Have a good one.
Good day, Cayman.
All righty. Bye-bye. All right, folks. See you mañana. Please don't forget about the ESO survey. If it comes across your way, we want to ensure that you participate.
The Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 12. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2025? In 2025, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.